Hello everyone, how are you? In our today's lesson, we'll talk about present simple. So, first of all, let's have a look where do we use present simple. We use present simple in order to talk about permanent states, facts, or general truths. For example, let's have a look at the example. I live in London. So when I say this statement, it means that I always live in London. It's permanent. What does it mean permanent? It means that it happens all the time, not for a short period of time. Or it's just a fact. Okay. So when we talk about permanent states or facts or general truths, we use present simple. Or we can say that the sun rises in the east. So in this sentence, we can see that this is a general truth. It's not controlled by people, by us. So when we say the statements like this, we always use them in the present simple. The next situation when we use present simple is to talk about habits. So let's have a look at the example. I play football every Tuesday. So it means that every Tuesday I play football. It doesn't matter. Just it happens. It happened last Tuesday, next Tuesday. It happens all the time, every Tuesday. So this action repeats after some period. Okay. When we talk about habits, we use present simple. Now let's have a look at the third usage of present simple. For timetables, for example, you can see timetables at schools, train stations, bus stops, or planes, airports. So you can see there some fixed time and date. And when we talk about timetables, we use present simple. For example, my flight leaves at 9 o'clock. So it's exact. We cannot change it. We can see this timetable is hung on the wall, and when people come and see it, they are aware that the time doesn't change, though the meaning is in the future. The meaning can mean future action, but when we use it in a grammatical way, we use present simple because it's not changed, it's fixed date and fixed time. For example, I live in London, we talked about previously. I live in London, it's just permanent action, and at the same time, it's a fact that I live in London, just it happens all the time. The next one, I play football on Tuesdays, so we can see that when we use s at the end of the days of the week, it means that this action happens all the time. So we use present simple in these situations. It's not only one Tuesday, it means that on Tuesdays, it means that every Tuesday. So not only one Tuesday, but every Tuesday. So in this situation, we also use present simple. It's habit, it's a kind of habit. And the last one, my flight leaves at 9 o'clock. So we talk that when we talk about timetables, the fixed date and the fixed time, we use present simple, though the meaning can be in the future. So my flight leaves at 9 o'clock. So again, we can see here usages of our present simple, permanent states, timetables, habits, and we have some keywords. We can also call them signal words. Why do we need them? They signal us to us that this tense is in the present simple, so we cannot use any other tense when you see these keywords. For example, you can see every Monday, every week, every month. And by the way, these phrases, every Monday, every week, every month, they are used at the end of the sentence or at the beginning of the sentence. On Tuesdays or on Sundays. It's not only one Tuesday, it's not only on one Sunday, it's on Tuesdays, on Sundays. When we see S at the end of the days of the week, it means that it happens all the time, so it is present simple. In the morning, in the afternoon, or in summer, when we see these expressions, we can also use present simple. At Christmas, at Easter, so we can say that we always decorate a Christmas tree at Christmas, or we always dye eggs at Easter. Okay, so when we see these kind of keywords, so it means that we use present simple. Now we can see here a bar graph. So here we have a frequency, adverbs of frequency. What does it mean, frequency? Frequency it means that they happen always. For example, it means 100%, just always, without exception. Usually it means 80%. I usually, let's say, read books. Often it's 70%. Sometimes it's around 50%. Seldom, it's seldom, rarely, it's 20%, and never, you can see that there is no any mark in never, so it means that never, 0%. And adverbs of frequency are also keywords for present simple, as you have seen the previous one, like always, usually, often, never. And they are mainly placed before the main verb. For example, you can see I always have breakfast. We have the verb here, have, so I put them before the main verb. But there is exception. So when we have to be in the sentence, like be in the sentence, so we use these signal words after be. So let's have a look at the examples. I always have breakfast. I usually do my homework in the afternoon. I often eat fish. In these three sentences, we can see that always, usually, and often are used before the verb. But in the example, like I'm never late for school, we can see that never is used after to be am. So when we have to be in the sentence, we use these adverbs of frequency after to be, but before the main verb. Now we are passing to the main part, as how do we form present simple. As you can see, we have the verb here, work, like I work, you work. But here you can see that in he, she, it is a little bit different from the others. So he works, she works, it works. But we work, you work, they work. So in he, she, it, we just added s to the end of the verb. So he, she, it, or singular nouns, we add s or es. And how do we form question word? When we are making our sentences in interrogative form, when we are changing them in interrogative form, we use do or does. So do I work? Do you work? Does he work? Does she work? Does it work? So we can see that in the he, she, it form, we have does not do. That's why, because in works we had here s. So as we have s here, when we ask question, we have to use s or es at the end of the verb do. So we have here does he work? So s in the end of works, it just drops because of does. Does he work? Does she work? Does it work? Do we work? Do you work? Do they work? So only here, the only difference in does. And we are passing to the negative form. As we said, in question form, we use do and does, and the same thing is for negative form. But here we just place it, do and does, between the subject and the verb of the sentence. So, I don't work. You don't work. He doesn't work. She doesn't work. It doesn't work. So again here we have difference in he, she, it. We add here again es and to the end of the word. Do, so, and we make it does. We don't work, he don't work, and they don't work. So in question form, we add do and does at the beginning of the verb of the sentence, but in negative form, we add not at the end of the do and does. And here, third person singular, we can see some spelling mistakes here, spelling examples here. So when we have most verbs, we add s. So like works, speaks, writes, laughs. She always talks about school, as example. But if we have the verbs ending with s, ch, sh, x, or o, we add es to the end of the verb, like kisses, reaches, washes, fixes, goes. But never washes his hands. Ben never washes his hands. Now we can see that, and we read it as is. Ben never washes his hands. But if we have the verb ending with the consonant y, we remove with consonant plus y, we remove y and add ies, like studies, worries, cries, and studies, it's written twice. So if we have y in the end and before y we have consonant, like here d, so we change that y into I and we add es. For example, Mary sometimes studies at night. And we have some short answers to the words, to the questions. And how do we form short answers? We add s, yes or no, plus subject pronoun like I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Then plus do, don't, does, or doesn't. Do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. Does he play football every day? No, he doesn't. Do they wash the car on Mondays? Yes, they do. Does Penny work? No, she doesn't. Do Paul and Jim go to school? Yes, they do. Does Lion watch TV at night? No, he doesn't. So we can see here short answers of present simple. So that's all for today's lesson. Hope the video was helpful. See you next time.